So we all procrastinate, right? But have you ever considered how much it's costing you to actually procrastinate? I think we walk around every day procrastinating on things, not realizing just how much it's costing us in our everyday lives. And so today in this video, I'm going to unpack to you a principle that will show you how to exponentially increase your output and your income if you just follow it. All right. So let's first, before I even get into that, let's talk about why do we procrastinate, right? Like what even causes us to procrastinate? Well, I believe there's a couple different factors that causes us to procrastinate. One of those being the story that we're telling ourselves about whatever the task is that we're completing, right? So let's take going to the gym, for instance. This is an area in which I procrastinate a lot. Now, I'll also go to the gym a lot, but I procrastinate a lot when going to the gym a lot. All right. And so depending on what muscle group I'm working out on said day, I'm probably more encouraged about going in, because if I'm doing chest and back, I'm just a lot gifted in that area, right? So it's easier for me to go in and work and do a chest and back day. When I got to do legs, and for my gym goers, y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm like, oh my God, beyond working them out, right? Knowing the pain I'm gonna be in thereafter, knowing the soreness that I'm gonna have, and it's really hard to rest your legs because you're doing what? Walking all the time, right? So leg day is a day where I typically sit in the car a little bit longer and drink my Celsius before I go in. Well, let's shift that even to business. Typically, the hardest things that we have to do in business, we put off the longest. If you're a real estate investor, maybe you have to call and deal with an issue with a contractor, or you got to call and deal with an issue with an investor. Those are conversations that you typically don't want to have, because you think that they're going to be confrontational potentially. They could leave somebody disappointed in the result of it. And so you put those things off, right? Maybe it's at work on your everyday job. You know, maybe you procrastinate about sending out that email that you know it's going to take you however long to craft it exactly the right way, because whoever you're sending it to, you got a lot of reverence for, they're highly revered, and you just want to make sure you don't mess it up. So you done typed this thing and edited and typed it and edited and typed it and edited, but you ain't hit send yet. Procrastinate, right? And all of these things that I'm talking about, and the list goes on and on and on. Maybe you procrastinating about apologizing to somebody. Something as simple as that, like just offering an apology, because that pride is like, don't do it. You know what I mean? Don't do it. But you know it's the right thing to do, but yet you're procrastinating about it, which is so interesting to me, that our pride is so nasty that it would disallow us to do something so beautiful like just apologize to somebody. Ain't that crazy? Wow. The human nature and the wiring of us is just unbelievable to me. Well, why is all this important? It's important because there's a principle in the Bible that comes from Ecclesiastes 11:6, okay, that says, plant your seed in the morning and keep busy all afternoon, for you don't know if the profit will come from one activity or another, or maybe both. Now, I'm going to say that again. Ecclesiastes 11:6 says, plant your seed in the morning and keep busy all afternoon, for you do not know if profit will come from one activity or another, or maybe both. And so when I read that scripture and I think about this principle, which, oh, by the way, came from arguably the wisest, wealthiest man in scripture, which was King Solomon in his latter years, right? He wrote that. And it's such a reminder to me of how much money that we're leaving on the table every single day, right? How much progress we're leaving on the table every single day. Why? Because procrastination, and I'm gonna get to the principle in a second, but procrastination is not only not doing what needs to be done in the moment, it's also robbing you of your future, because you're still preoccupied by the thing that you need to do, although you haven't done it yet. There's still a tab that's running in the background, right? You know how you got a bunch of tabs open on your computer? Unless or until you complete that task, that tab is open. No matter how much you try to suppress the thought, no matter how much you're trying to focus on something else, you're preoccupied subconsciously by that tab being open and it's running in the background until you do something about it. And so that's a perpetuated problem, a perpetuated problem. And if we make a habit of that, I know firsthand, you are leaving money on the table. You are leaving productivity on the table. Why? Because going back to the principle, it says that we need to plant our seed in the morning and get busy by afternoon, because you don't know from which activity the profit is going to come, right? And so when you think about that, in order to plant your seed in the morning and get busy by afternoon, then you can't be procrastinating, right? Oftentimes, writers say they have writer's block. They don't have writer's block. Back to that, what's the story they're telling themselves? They're thinking whatever I'm about to put pen to paper is not going to produce the outcome in the form of people buying my book. It's not writer's block. They're telling themselves a story that don't exist. And the reality is everything in our future is made up. So whether we tell ourselves the thing that we do desire, we tell ourselves the thing that we don't desire, either way we made it up and we're a prisoner to whatever that story is that we made up. So one of the best things that we can start doing for ourselves is, one, start having a desire for the thing we actually want. Have a desire for the outcome you actually want as opposed to the one that you don't want. The problem, though, is because for most of our lives, we default into a life that we never necessarily wanted. And so we just think that we're always going to take what life gives us as opposed to produce what we want out of life. And that's a complete shift of perspective. And if you could change your perspective, you could change your situation. And so I want to challenge everybody with just that first. Start telling yourself the story that you really want to happen. Because if you do that, then you'll actually take the action behind it. For instance, if I'm really convicted about a property that I'm making an offer on, there's nothing that's going to stop me from getting that offer in. No fear, no doubt, no anxiety, no nervousness, no nothing. It's like, I want that building. I'm convicted about getting it. I'm going to submit my offer unequivocally. Like nothing is going to impede on that process of that happening. Why? Because I really want that property. I desire that I'm going to have it, and I think I'm going to get it. But on the adverse, there's other investors that find every single reason as to why they shouldn't submit the offer. Well, I'm sure it's always already multiple offers on it. Well, I don't know where I'm gonna get the money from, and so I don't want to really waste their time. And so if you tell yourself all of that, then you're going to procrastinate and or not even do the thing. And this is how life keeps lifing, as the kids would say. This is how life keeps happening to people because they're telling themselves the wrong story about a future outcome that don't exist yet. So if you're going to make it up, then make up. And think about how crazy this is. Every day, people make plans to do things, albeit frivolous things. It don't matter. You may tell somebody 2 weeks from now that you're going to meet them in an entirely different state and what restaurant y'all are going to go to and what time you're going to do it. And you never think twice about it. Why? Because that's a future outcome that you believe is true and you desire it. So you make it up and then you follow through with it. And we do this every day unconsciously about frivolous things. But when it comes time to do things that can really move the needle in our life, when it comes time to do things that can forever change our life and those that are around us, we find every problem for every solution. Now, some people just gonna stay stuck like that. Hopefully for those that's watching this video, that would not be the case. And hopefully for those that you send this video to, that also would not be the case, because I'm telling you, it is literally that simple to change your life. All you have to do is change the way that you think and change the way that you behave and result of that, because people can only behave consistent with what they believe. This is why I'm trying to help you shift your belief system in that regard. Because it takes the same amount of faith to think that you're going to meet so-and-so at the football game out of state or whatever, as it is about whatever it is that you got on your list that you want to accomplish in life. They're no different. It's just that we continuously tell ourselves a story that's inconsistent with the truth that we really want out of the situation. So, plant your seed in the morning and get busy by afternoon. Procrastination keeps you from working that principle. It keeps you from working that principle of planting your seed in the morning and getting busy by afternoon. Here's the other problem with it. If you're waiting too long to plant that seed, then You've disallowed yourself to be more productive throughout the day because here, remember what I told you. The more that we procrastinate, it's not only robbing you of your present moment, it's robbing you of your future because you're still preoccupied by that. So your creativity is now slowed down. Your energy level is slowed down. Your productivity is slowed down. So procrastination is having a multiple effect on one. It was one thing that's supposed to be happening, but it's having a multiple effect on everything else. And so it's important that whatever it is that we do every day, that we get it done early. Get that thing that you know you need to do done early. If it's that email, send it early. If it's that conversation you need to have it early. If it's that investment that you need to make, get it done and get it out of the way. Because you need to sow your seed in the morning and get busy by afternoon. Now, while in the context in which I'm explaining this, there's a lot of financial upsides to this, right? But at the very same time, there's profit that shows up in different forms than just financial. See, every deed is a seed. So every decision that we make, every behavior we take in result of that decision, every last one of those, every deed is a seed. And so when we can start to foster a habit of sowing good seeds in the morning and getting busy by afternoon, you're still going to profit. You're still going to profit. For instance, I go to the gym in the morning, I sow that seed, right? I go there, I'm done after an hour and a half, whatever. I come back, I eat, hopefully healthy. And then as my day progresses, I'm doing other stuff. Well, I'm profiting off of all that activity throughout the day from sowing the right seed in the morning. Now, imagine if I didn't go to the gym in the morning. Imagine if my health was compromised. Imagine if I was sluggish and overweight and tired all the time. And I roll out of bed and hop right on social media and I don't spend any time with God in the morning. Right? Like imagine if I didn't sow those seeds in the morning, what the rest of my day would look like in result of it. So I want you to just think about every deed as a seed. And I want you to consider what deeds and seeds are you sowing early in the morning? Because again, plant your seed early in the morning and keep busy all afternoon. For you do not know if the profit will come from one activity or another, or maybe both. How many times are we waiting on one thing to happen in our lives? This one deal that we've been focused on. One of the things I tell my students all the time, they say, I made an offer. I'm like, great. So what else you doing? Well, I'm trying to wait to see what's going to happen with that one. Like, why are you doing that? Because I didn't want to run the risk of having too many deals. That kind of sounds like a good problem to have. Now, for most, I get why they would say that. But if you actually know how to wholesale those additional deals or assign those deals to other people, then you could still be a blessing to somebody else and get paid another fee on a deal that you're not even going to do just because you sowed the seed in the morning of the one contract that you were interested in, but then you kept looking for other good deals. So now those good deals could benefit not only you, but they could benefit other people who are also looking for good deals that haven't found them yet. Y'all see what I'm saying? Y'all got to light me up in the comments if y'all picking up what I'm putting down right now. This will forever change your life. Most people are sitting around looking and waiting for the paint to dry, and that's why they're so deflated by when that one thing don't happen for them. Because you got to sow your seed in the morning and get busy in the afternoon. You got to still be productive doing other things, planting other seeds, so that you don't know which one of those are going to produce the harvest or both. So if you want to increase your productivity, if you want to increase your income, take inventory on the deeds and seeds that you're sowing in the morning and ask yourself, am I still getting busy in the afternoon looking for other opportunities to sow more seed? Because if you're not putting seed in the ground, you can only be foolish to be expecting a harvest. I hope this was helpful. Share this with someone that you think could benefit from it. And I will see you guys in the next video.